So we're back with the second video. As I had mentioned, my mic had died and this was one full video. So if you see my hands moving, it's not really going with what I'm saying. Don't worry about it. So with this one, we will be making another cream, still using emulsifying wax, but we will be adding a co-emulsifier. The co-emulsifier we'll be using is glycerol stearate SE. I wouldn't use cetearyl alcohol because the emulsifying wax that the main emulsifying wax does contain cetearyl alcohol. This will help to give it a silky or commercial feel, and I will also be adding colloidal oatmeal. The colloidal oatmeal will help to draw moisture to the skin, as well as honey. Again, if you're a vegan, you wouldn't use honey, you can continue to use the glycerin. So we'll begin. Just remember, your liquid goes into your smaller beaker and your oils, butters, and emulsifying wax goes into the larger beaker. I will be using aloe vera juice instead of the distilled water, and this is what I also use when I do make my oatmeal milk and honey creams to sell as well. The aloe vera juice is good for moisturizing the skin, and I will be switching out the butter, and I will use the unrefined butter. This will help to give it the chocolatey smell of the cocoa butter, because with this one I am not going to be adding any fragrance. I usually do add oatmeal milk and honey fragrance oil at a low rate. I don't use it at the full rate that I would my all the others, just to give it that kind of smell. And customers can opt on the website as well to not have any fragrance, and also to not add the honey in the product as well. So I will add to this the honey. So the honey here is replacing the glycerin from our first video, and this is just organic honey bought from the supermarket. Just make sure you check your honey just to see if it is organic honey. And like the glycerin, I find this is heavy as well, so just make sure that you are careful. It goes straight down to the bottom like before. The colloidal oatmeal along with the honey will help to create a nice smooth and silky feel on your skin, but also help with soothing your skin and locking in moisture. For those who have purchased the oatmeal milk and honey, and you can see here how finely grounded the oatmeal is. Sorry, that's a little bit blurry. But for those who have bought this, they did say it did help. I know one of my clients did have like winter eczema, and it said that it helped him with soothing his skin and also reducing the eczema as well. I do recommend it for those who have sensitive skin or who does have eczema, so you can try this and see if you do have eczema. You can try making this and see if it works on your skin. If you have severe eczema, maybe you might want to also add the glycerin as well. But the honey so far in this formulation works fine. and I'll just stir that around so I can get rid of the clumps and also dissolve the honey. Here I'm just taking the weight of how much it is before I put it in the double boiler so that I know if I lose any water. And you cover that with foil. And then we'll move on to our oil phase. So as before, we will add our emulsifying wax. We will also add our oil and our butter. The only thing that will be different is adding your co-emulsifier. You have to work out for yourself how much of this co-emulsifier you want to add, and this is where you have to play around with the numbers. As I said in the first video, you might have heard me said it took a while to formulate because you have to eventually change around the numbers. So you might add 6% and then 3%. You might add 7 and 2. You might add 5 and 1. You know, like it depends on the percentage. So when you're formulating, make a little bit so that again you're not losing, but you'll get to figure out what works for you. Everything that you're making here, you wouldn't get the consistency until the following day or however. So just keep in mind that what you get now might not be the same tomorrow, or depending on what you use, it might take a couple days. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so I will put these on the double boiler and we will come back and we will mix them. Okay, so like before, we will add the water to the oil. Now, what I would note here is because of the colloidal oatmeal, you should stir this before adding it in, because I noticed that it goes all the way to the end, and you will see that in the video. And I didn't lose a lot of water here. I probably lost maybe like 0.09 or so grams, so that's fine. So if you can see here at the bottom, that's some of the undissolved colloidal oatmeal, and you can just scrape that out and put that in, but if you stir it before, it will make it a little easier. Okay, and you just use your hand blender to mix everything up. So I'm just showing here that if you don't want to use your hand blender and you have enough funds that you can buy a milk frother, you can also buy use one as well. Now I would recommend the white one only because of the head. The other one, I find that it doesn't mix as well as this one. And this one also has multiple attachments. I got this from Voyager. I think it was like $10 or something. And it has about 4 extra attachments. But I only use this for making stuff. I don't use this for frothing milk or anything like that. As you can see the head of it and how the blades look, it does wonders, trust me, if you just want to make a small batch and you don't want to create something large. So it is thick here, and I will blend it a little more. As you can see, it's already getting thick on the blender. So I'll just blend a little more. And I find sometimes at this stage, I see persons, they would blend first, and when everything is mixed together, they would pour inside the their containers. I honestly have not had a lot of luck with that. So I just mix it till I see it get really thick, and then I put it inside the container. You see in this one, it got thicker than the other one faster, and that also the co-emulsifier can also attribute to that. Also, it might be some of the colloidal oats as well, but I'm just gonna scrape this off and then we'll go off. So here I was just talking about getting maybe a immersion blender with a steel head, or like steel all the way down. This part is hard plastic, and honestly right now is wobbly. I have had it for a long time, but I find if I was supposed to like choose another one again, like if I knew before, I would have gotten a steel all the way down of it to be steel. Okay, so now that is done, I will just set it aside. Okay, so we're back, and you can see how thick the consistency is right now. And how smooth it looks. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add our cool down ingredients. Which is our vitamin E. And our preservative. Okay, so this is the thickness of the cream after. As you can see, it has thickened up. Not only that, but the consistency is much creamier than before. So I'm not adding any fragrance to this, and it will smell, to me it just smells like the aloe vera water that was added earlier. Obviously if you don't add the aloe vera water, it would just smell like nothing. So I will go ahead and I will put this in another one of my 6-ounce containers. And this is cool because my battery actually died. And yeah. Alright, and those will be my 2 to last me for a while before I make some more. The other fragrance actually still smells really good, and I'll just give you so even with, so remember I mentioned how it will still streak, so with the co-emulsifier you might get some of that, but as you can see after it's rubbed into the skin, you don't have to worry about that. Alright, and I will go ahead and put on my lid, and again I found these on Amazon, and my little label. Okay, and I'll show you the consistency of the one before. So it has thickened up. It's not runny, so it will thicken up. It's just the co-emulsifier will help it be more, how do I put it, more conditioning and a silkier texture. Like this, the texture of this is silky as well. And I like both, honestly. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I found adding the co-emulsifier really helped with the consistency and the feel. The feel does feel like a commercial product, but you use whatever works for you, and again play around with your ingredients, your additives, see what works for you. And that's it. So today we made two different products. As you can see, this one is a little bit darker than this one because of the aloe vera juice and the colloidal oils. Now I wanted to show you something before we sign off. So fragrance oils, I didn't realize this after, because honestly all the ones that I've made, the only one that is darker in all my line is the oatmeal milk and honey. Now I was testing some fragrance oils, and you can see this one is clear. I mean, this one is a white consistency, but this one is darker, and this actually changed over time. I didn't add anything to this, no colorants or anything. This changed over time. And this fragrance, and I'll try it again in something else, but this one is Arabian Nights, which in my line I call it Desert Nights, from Windy Point. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Right, Arabian, yeah, it's called Arabian Nights by Windy Point. So I guess that's something you have to look for in the future. As I mentioned, I've never had that happen before, and it doesn't really matter to me if it changes the color, because technically you're not looking for it for the color, you're looking for it for its benefits. So yeah, so this changed color. So I'll be testing a couple other fragrances and we'll see what happens to those. But bye.